everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Sokha Yous. I'm a financial wellness counselor here at Mayo Employees Federal Credit Union. And today we're going to be talking about budgeting. So at any time if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to go ahead and just type it online. Or if you're a little too shy to type it online now, you can go ahead and send me an email or give me a phone call. This is my contact information. It's best to just email me. And you can ask any personal questions you like here, in the chat, or just to reach out to me directly as well. So my contact information will be at the end of the presentation as well. So again, today's agenda, we're going to talk about budgeting. We're going to talk about what really is a budget, the importance of having a budget, how to budget. We'll talk about your financial goals, why it's important to have them, what should be some of your financial goals, and what we can do to reach them. We'll talk about debt management and additional tools and support that we have here at the credit union for you. So what really is a budget? Simply put, it's a spending plan based on your income, your expenses, and your financial goals. So it's a way to keep track of how much you earn, how much you spend, and how much to save, or how much you currently have saved, and how much you plan to save. Will give you a better control of your financial future. It doesn't require you to be good at math at all. There's lots of, plenty of spreadsheets out there that are free for you, plenty of good apps out there for you as well, and just, a free calculator to go ahead and just do some basic budgeting. We'll go over how to do that here in just a little bit. And it doesn't mean that you can't buy things that you want. So when we talk about budgeting, a lot of times people think that, it's a restriction. What can I buy? What can I not buy? But kind of look at it more like a freedom. So on top of your head, or just referring to your budget spreadsheet, how much you can afford certain things. When are you going to be able to afford them? So it kind of gives you that freedom to know, that things are planned out, what's available for you and what is not available for you. So it's look at it as more, not like a restriction, but more of a freedom of knowing what you have available. So you don't have to say no to any of your favorite things. For example, if you want to continue to buy Starbucks every day, you hear Dave Ramsey's of the Dave Ramsey's of the world saying, if you want to save money, then don't spend money on things like Starbucks. But you know what? If you're spending $78 a day on Starbucks, and you know that that's something that's your little luxury in life, that's something that gets your day going, if that's something that you really, really enjoy, you might as well just include in your budget. I don't want you to cut that out, but make sure that you include in your budget, just so you know how much is available for everything else. You just need to plan ahead for those little luxury items. It should not make you feel overwhelmed at all. So we just want to keep our budget as basic as possible. We're going to talk about how much your income is, and then we'll just go ahead and subtract your expenses as well. So at any time you're feeling overwhelmed with your budget, maybe it'd be a good time to talk to someone about that, like a financial wellness counselor or your financial advisor, or even just get a budget buddy to help you out. The importance of having a budget, it creates freedom and financial stability by helping you track expenses. This way you know exactly how much you have, how much you're spending on each category in life. If you're not used to putting your expenses according to different categories in life, we can talk about that too. We can set it up together and see, what section or what category in your life you're spending a little bit more, how much you need to scale back in order for you to reach your financial goals. You'll know exactly how much is left over for each savings categories. You will know how much is directed for bills, whether it's weekly bills, monthly or yearly bills, or also weekly goals, monthly goals, and yearly goals as well. It'll also help you save money for financial goals. But why do we want a financial goal in the first place, right? So if you're just having, if you just have income coming in, and you don't know, you want to go take a trip to Europe sometime, but you don't know when that's going to happen. Someday it's going to happen. Whenever we get our finances together, it'll happen. But let's go ahead and just make that a goal now. Let's say next year, by November next year, you want to go to Italy. You determine, you try to figure out how much are flights, how much are hotels, how much you're going to spend on eating, how much you're going to spend on just spending to enjoy yourself out there. And then you have that figure in your head. And then you just work your way backwards. We have about 18 months or 16 months before our trip. Let's see how much we need to save from each paycheck. Break it down that way, and then automate your savings into a separate savings account, if you like, or into a high yield savings account. So that way you can start saving for that goal. So it's really important to have your financial goals, so that way you have your money work for you. It can be a very small financial goal. You know what, I want to go ahead and buy a new pair of running shoes or something by the end of this month. Let's just go ahead and set that as a financial goal. So that way you know exactly how much you're saving from each paycheck too. And if your goal is to save down money for a house in 2 years, a budget will give you that freedom to reach your goals as well. So we'll take a look and see how much is 20. Do you want to put 20% down on your new house in 2 years, or did you want to qualify for a different kind of loan, like an FHA loan where it requires a lower down payment? How much will that be then in 2 years? And then you work your way backwards. The important thing here is when you do have your financial goals, it's a lot easier to direct your money, to tell your money what to do. Have them your little soldiers and tell them, you're going to go and fight for me and save in this little, savings account, and we're going to work together and try to save for this down payment or for a trip or for a new car, whatever it may be. It's really important to set financial goals, have the dates that you want it to be due by, have the amount that you need to transfer it over each paycheck or each week or each month, however you want to do it, whichever is easier for you. And also it helps you stop spending money that you don't have, so it stops you from buying things that you don't need. Once you set out a budget, you have it in your face, that this is how much I'm bringing in for income after taxes, after deductions, this is what I have being deposited into my checking account or savings account each paycheck. And then it tells you, how much are my expenses? How much are my fixed expenses, my variable expenses, my financial goals, and what is left over after all of that? So once you have all your budgets set out like that, it's a lot easier for you to stop spending frivolously or being a little bit too spontaneous with your money, because you have goals that you want to reach and you have different categories that you want to save for. And it creates awareness of spending too. Knowing how much you spend in different life categories can help you plan ahead of time. This goes to a lot of times when I start meeting with people, they don't know how much you're spending in certain categories. For example, like groceries, people think, what, I only spend maybe $300 or $400 a month on groceries. And then once we start talking over a little bit more, and then once they start auditing their own accounts, it's whether it's your checking account or credit cards or all of them combined, whatever accounts that you're spending out of, they realize, what, it wasn't $300. This is why I don't know where all my money is going to. I'm actually spending $800 to $1,000 a month on groceries, in addition to $500 a month in eating out. So I have no idea why I'm spending that much money in the food category for a family of 2 or a family of 4, when the goal was to spend around $300 or $400. So it's really, really important that you know where your money is going to currently. So the best way to do that is to go ahead and audit your accounts. Take a look at the last 2 or 3 months. Where's your money going to? How much is left over at the end of each month or at the end of each paycheck? So by knowing how much you spend in different categories, you can plan ahead as well. If realistically you're spending about $800 each month on groceries and say, what, I want to go ahead and scale back. So let's go ahead and make the first month's goal. Just only spend $700 in groceries. What can we do to cut out those extra $100? So that way we can put the extra $100 towards an emergency savings or towards a trip or something. Knowing your current income and also future income and costs can help you pay off debt in a timely manner too. So we'll talk a little bit more about paying debt off here in a little bit, but we want to include debt management, debt repayments, and how to pay things off sooner as part of our budget too. And it helps you, once you know where your budget is sitting at and how much you have left over, it helps you avoid future debt. That way you don't have to use your credit card to pay for things that are unexpected. That way you have funds in your emergency savings to pay for those unexpected things in life instead of putting on a credit card or trying to get a hardship loan. It can even save your marriage and relationship. Most couples argue about money or, have financial infidelity. If, that's a popular word these days too, where people are not telling each other what they're spending money on. I don't want to tell my husband that I spent $400 on a pair of shoes when I actually told him it was like, $100 or something. So people are being dishonest with their spouses. If you catch yourself being that way or you see your spouse being that way, I think it's time to actually sit down and talk about and just be open and honest and be transparent about your relationship with money. Where's money going to? What are our, current goals together as a couple and as individuals? So when talking about money and having a budget, knowing where everything is going to, it can really save your relationship, make things run a little bit smoother for you in your marriage too. As far as finances go. You want to have a financial meeting with yourself and with your partner. It can be a weekly thing, it can be a bi-weekly thing or a monthly thing or a quarterly thing, whichever is easier for you guys. Start out with meeting once a week. You say, you know what, our goal was to spend $100 each week on eating out individually. Did we go over that? Did we go under that? Or did you go over that? If you went over that, do we need to adjust your budget for eating out a little bit more? So it's really good to touch base with each other in that sense, just to, know where your current personal spending is at, and know what your partner is, where their spending is at. You don't have to monitor everything that they're spending or they monitor everything that you're spending, but just kind of just let each other know, hey, I went over, so maybe we need to adjust our budget just a little bit too. And having a budget reduces a lot of financial anxiety. You'd be surprised when I meet with people that, they have unopened letters for months and months because they're just it gives them so much anxiety to look at their current balance from their bank account, current balance on their credit card, whatever letter, whatever collection agency that letter is coming from, it gives a lot of anxiety. So with budgeting, you know where all your money is going to. You're being proactive with your funds. You're being proactive with your debt management. So it kind of avoid that anxiety as well. And so it's really important if you do find yourself, feeling very anxious and feeling, just avoiding your finances altogether. Let's just, we can meet and we can chat about that. We can work through whatever it is, you're having anxiety about when it comes to finances. A fun little fact is, 67% of Americans cannot come up with $400 for an emergency without putting it on their credit card. I'm talking about $400 cash, $400 in their checking account, in their savings account. So that's a huge number. If you find yourself part of the 67%, perhaps we should meet and go ahead and set up some sort of budget for you. And the first financial goal we should try to reach is an emergency savings. So set aside a certain amount each paycheck, set a goal for that emergency savings, and then see how quickly we can get that built up so we can turn into a little game or something. So how to budget? You want to track your expenses, of course. It takes time and effort to track all of your expenses, your current expenses, and all your current spending, but it'll help you determine whether your budget fits your lifestyle. So again, during the summertime, you might be traveling a lot more, so maybe you're eating out a little bit more. So maybe your grocery bill should go down and your eating out bill should go up, right? We want to adjust in different seasons in life, or in different seasons too. So during the school year, when you have a lot of activities going on, maybe it's, maybe your family is just the kind of family that eats out a little bit more, and we just need to adjust your budget to fit that lifestyle. That doesn't mean that we're just going to go ahead and say, you know what, it's okay to spend $2,000 a month on eating out. We want to go ahead and tone that down a little bit in order for you to reach your financial goals. So whatever it is, it's really important to track your spending to figure out where your money is going to. But we also want it to fit into your current lifestyle too. And for example, if you want to set your grocery expense to $500 a month, but after tracking your expenses, you realize it's actually $1,500 a month in groceries, you just need to adjust your budget goals and plan to change what you buy. I know that I like to do online shopping for groceries and stuff, so that way I'm not tempted to just buy random things, in the aisles. So a lot of people and a lot of members that I work with find that that's really helpful too. You know exactly how much it's going to come out to, you know exactly what you need for your meal plan, meal prep coming up for this week or for the next 2 weeks, so that way you don't overspend. So there's a few different methods to budgeting. The 50-30-20 budget, I really like that one too, but so it's 50% for necessary expenses. For example, if your income is $10,000 a month, 50% of that, $5,000 of that will go towards necessary expenses such as housing, vehicles, phone, electricity, things like that. Those are necessary things. 30% discretionary, like fun money goes towards your eating out, go towards groceries, things like that. 20% goes towards savings and debt repayment. So that's really good. I mean, if you like to divide that way, it might be easier for you guys to do that too. But give that a try, but also give the zero-based budget a try. You want to look at every dollar as employee and tell each employee what to do. So you're in charge of your entire company. So that means that for a $10,000 income, all $10,000 is allocated towards certain categories, whether it's savings category, fund category, necessary expenses or discretionary things like that, or to debt repayment, where at the end of the month, it shows a zero available money at the end of each month. So that's zero-based budget. But it doesn't mean that you don't have any money left over at the end of each month. It means that every dollar has a job to do, whether that job is to grow in a savings account or that job is to sit in a checking account for just in case, miscellaneous expenses come up, or whether that extra dollar is going towards your, your summer plans category. So financial goals, why have them? The importance of funding your lifestyle, whether it's short-term, medium-term, long-term financial goals. So it can be examples of financial goals, should be emergency savings, that should be number one, or maybe buying a house in a couple years, paying off your student loans, that's a huge category right now, buying a car, retirement, wedding, babies, and also, have some money set aside for your deductibles, for your car insurance deductible, figure out how much that deductible is, figure out your health insurance deductible, how much you have to pay, before insurance pays, 20 or 80%, and you pay 20%, or, figure out your out-of-pocket max, so that way you don't have to, that way you don't owe a lot of money in medical expenses if you do have that money up front to pay for your deductible. Vacations is important to treat yourself, whether it's a mini staycation or a little vacation to go out somewhere. You worked hard for your money, so treat yourself to a vacation. The important thing the good thing with budgeting is you know exactly when you're going to be able to do those things, right? And paying off debt too. So the relief of paying off debt it's really important for a lot of people to understand that once you pay off your debt, you have that extra money that you were paying towards debt to go towards other financial goals as well. Just like living life, funner things that are a lot more fun than paying off debt. So when it comes to debt management, it's important for add it towards your monthly expenses. You should add it, monthly expenses will drop, which means that you'll have more money to invest towards your future goals. But you should also add your debt repayment. So extra debt repayments, for example, if $100 is the minimum payment on your American Express card, but you want to go ahead and pay off your debt a lot sooner. So you want to put down, $100 towards your American Express, but then the debt repayment category, an extra $500, an extra $1,000 if that's available for you. Put that as part of your monthly expenses as well. So that way you know that it's counted towards, where it tells your dollar, it gives you a job to do, So that way when you do have a category for debt repayment, you know exactly where that debt repayment funds are coming from and where it's going to. And also, once you pay off your debt, again, a lot less stress and emotional relief, more freedom to work less hours or even quit a second job if you were working a second job to pay off your debt. Paying down debt reminds you to address harmful spending behaviors that you got that got you there in the first place. So how did you run up $10,000 in credit card debt? Why did you need that extra loan to pay off certain things that should have been paid off with your savings account? It kind of forces you to really address your relationship with money. Do I spend extra money when I'm feeling stressed? Is this my source of relief, or do I need to find a different coping mechanism instead of spending money? So it really, if you don't know the reason why you're spending certain things, maybe again you should talk to someone like me or a financial advisor or even a financial counselor about why you spend money when you're feeling stressed. What are other coping mechanisms you have? When you start to review or audit your accounts, you'll really start to see, why was I spending so much money on eating out instead of cooking when I have food at home or when I have groceries at home? Why do I do these things? So you start to question yourself, and then you start to go down the rabbit hole of, trying to figure out your financial relationship and how that affects you in your own life and how that affects your relationship with other people too. So there's a snowball payoff method. I really like that one for a lot of our members, where you're paying off the small debt first. The psychology behind it is like quick little wins, right? So for example, if you have like 3 debt and one is $500, the other is $1,000, the other is $1,500. Once you pay off that $500 first, you know what? That was a really fast one. You paid off that $500, you have the little wins. You're like, good, I can keep doing this. You get that instant high once you pay off that small little debt. Then you can roll it over. You can snowball snowball your payments over to the second debt. So then next thing you know, a couple months later, you pay off your $1,000 debt. Next thing you know, that one's paid off. The emotional, you feel the emotional relief behind paying off those two debts, so then you could snowball your payments into, paying off the third debt. So that's a psychology behind it. It allows you to see results a lot sooner, which can provide a sense of accomplishment and motivation for you to continue with your debt repayment journey. The avalanche payoff debt, these are for the people that I noticed that have a little bit more discipline in their spending and stuff. So it's where you pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first. Doesn't matter what the balance is. We just want to focus on the interest rate. It may take a little bit longer to pay it off, but you'll save more in interest. So you pay as little interest as possible to make the progress a lot faster. So with debt management, we want to figure out different ideas to reduce your expenses, right? So you can change your cell phone plans. There's a lot of competitors out there. So it's really good that there are a lot of competitors. That means that there's a lot more cheaper phone plans for you. So don't stay loyal to one company just because you've been with them since you were 18 or 20 or 30. You shop around for different cell phone plans. Also cancel your gym membership if you're not using the gym. Cut streaming services in or different internet providers if that's available for you. Streaming services used to be, when Netflix first came out, it was very cheap, and it was a way for you to cut down expenses in your cable. So as we know, cable was very expensive. It's $100, $120, sometimes $200. And then streaming services came along and said, you know what, all I have to do is pay $5.99 a month. All I have to do is pay $7.99 a month, $16 a month. For these services. Next thing you know, you have about, 8, 9 of them sharing between you and your family, and they're still coming out to about $100 each month. So if that's something that you're not really watching all those shows, all those, programs anyways, you might as well just cut them out and save some money on them. If your current checking or savings account is charging you monthly fees, go ahead and move them into a bank or a credit union that doesn't charge you monthly fees. For example, here at MEFCU, you can have as many savings accounts as you want. We don't charge any extra fees for it. You can have different checking accounts, no extra fees for it too. So why waste your money and give your money into an extra $10 or $15 each month to an institution for you to just keep your money in there? Might as well just move it out of those accounts or those institutions. If you can refinance your loan for a lower interest rate if your credit is a little bit better now and you realize that you're paying a little too much in your car loan, and the interest rate is a little too high. You're more than welcome to chat with the loan officer and see what some of your options are. If your credit is better, your finances is better, you can talk to a loan officer and try to get a lower interest rate, which lower interest rates means a smaller monthly payment. Smaller monthly payments mean more money in your pocket. So you want to tailor your goals towards your lifestyle. So whatever different kind of debt management program works for you and fits into your lifestyle, I'll just say go ahead and go with that. Ideas to accumulate more savings. You want to set goals. It could be financial or habitual goals. I want to lose more weight, so I want to cut out eating. By cutting out eating, I'm going to save more money. That way I don't spend too much money on eating out. You can automate your savings. It could be directly from your payroll, or it could be from your checking account, from your savings account, and then automatically move it into a savings account or a different checking and savings account with a different bank altogether. So that way you don't have easy access to it. So that way it forces you to save. You can meal plan or you can dine out less. There's so many options for meal planning out there, meal prepping. So you can just open any, the internet and try to figure out what is the cheapest way to meal plan something. You can carpool if that's available for you. Avoid extra trips to different places so that way you can save money on gas. You can sell items you no longer need or use. Things like your clothes, baby gears, when they grow out of it, there's plenty of, people out there that's looking to buy baby stuff, and those things are expensive, brand new, so you can always just sell them. If you don't want to sell on Facebook Marketplace or on Craigslist or on, other selling platforms, you can always just go like Once Upon a Child, or you can sell your clothes to, secondhand stores and stuff too, and household items too, you can do that. If it's available in your schedule and in your mental health schedule, you can add another gig or pick up a part-time job or try to work overtime in your current job now just to get some extra money coming in. So this is an example of this, it's just the budget. So it's very basic. Like I said, we want to keep it as simple as possible. As you see in the green section, we want to know exactly how much you're bringing in, right? If you're interested in this spreadsheet, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and I can email it to you. Again, it's going to look something like this. It's filled in, but it's filled in because I want you to see like an example of what should go where, and what are some people are paying, things like that, but just delete it and include and add your personal information on there. But the green section is the income. Always know how much you're bringing in after taxes, right? Know where your money's being deposited, so that way you know how much is coming in each week or each paycheck and for the entire month. And then it's the red section, the fixed expenses, things like your mortgage, your student loans, your cell phone, stuff like that. Those are pretty much fixed. So fixed expenses are things that are due every month, pretty much the same amounts, pretty much around the same time each month, if not the exact same date each month. So you like your car payment, your car insurance, stuff like that. Those are your fixed expenses. So put that on there, and I like to put when it's due. So what is the due date on there? And then the next category would be your variable expenses. Things like your groceries, your household expenses, eating out, gas, things like that. It's going to vary a little bit for you too. So we still want to set a goal for it for the month, for the paycheck, however you want to break it down. But we know it's going to vary from season to season. So just because it's set on there, that doesn't mean that we're not going to be flexible with it. But we're going to be flexible to an extent, right? We want to go ahead and save money, cut down on our spending. So we want to go ahead and just say put the max out, $300-400 for different for whatever category that you want. But we don't want to go over that. And then your savings and sinking funds category, I like to add that as a monthly expense too, so that way it kind of forces you to pay yourself essentially. So all these other bills, you're paying someone else, why not pay yourself too? Put yourself on there as, as an expense also, and include that as your monthly expense. So you're gonna have different categories: emergency savings, if you need new tires coming up, if you have a trip coming up for Christmas, or, school starts again in August, September, do you want to start saving for that? So whatever it is you're trying to save for, go ahead and put that in the budget as well. So that way you know exactly how much you have going towards what category. And also the category, of assets, checking and savings accounts, it's a good idea to just have a glance in one spot, know how much is available in each account. So you can have put as many accounts as you want, or you can just put this and personalize it for yourself, whether you have a 403B or a 401k, just change it for yourself too. And then I like to put like sinking fund categories, just kind of keep track of it. As you see there, the goal, the back to school goal, that's due in August or September. We want to go ahead and start that in August. Our goal is to only save $500. So you determine, how many paychecks is between August and September. I have 2 or 3 paychecks, and then you set aside how much is going to be going towards that savings account per each paycheck. So what's really important, the important part of having financial goals is having a due date on there, right? So the goal, how much you want to save, you want to know when you want it to be due by, so that way you can work your way backwards and kind of force yourself to save as well. So, and on the left-hand side, I like to put the paydays. You can put your own paydays on there too. And additional tools and support. So you can meet with me virtually or in person for ideas on how to better plan ahead for your future expenses and to set up detailed budget. I do know with the Mayo benefits, they do have, Headspace, or they have Lutheran Social Services that you can talk to as well if you prefer, but we're always going to be available here for you. It is free to meet with me. You can always use different tracking tools to match your expenses. Again, you can email me for the template, but there's so many other templates out there that are available for you for free, but also a lot of different apps that are free as well. I know there are a few of them that charge money, but I think if you're having anxiety about, what you should do with your budgeting and stuff like that, I think paying $5-6 each month towards those apps, those might be good for you, might be good for your mental health too. So again, but if you want to talk in person, talk with me, I'll be more than happy to walk you through what you need to do to set up your own budget. And it's also really important to know your credit score and review it annually. So the free credit report that I always tell people to go to is go to annualcreditreport.com. It's a free service, so it's really important that you know exactly how much debt you have, and just to make sure that everything on there is accurate. You want to keep tabs of your expenses with services that MEF you have to offer. We have stuff like online and mobile banking, e-statements, automatic savings, transfers, and bill pays. So again, my name is Sokha Yous. I'm the Financial Wellness Counselor here at Mayo Employees Federal Credit Union. This is my contact information, but if you can't write this down now, you can go to our website, mayocreditunion.org, and go to the financial education tab of our website, and my contact information should be on there as well. Do we have any questions online at this time? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.